Hi, I'm Brad, your retirement readiness coach, and today I'm going to help you avoid making the 3 biggest mistakes when it comes to retirement planning. Having helped so many people transition into retirement, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to retirement planning. Today I'm going to teach you how to avoid making those mistakes because I want to see you be successful when it comes to your retirement. The first big mistake that I see retirees make is they try and time the market. And I want to show you, this is a depiction of all the different asset classes that you could invest in over the years. And this is a very specific time period. And you can see as you look at this, there's no predictable pattern. There's no repeatable pattern. There is no way to forecast or prognosticate the market, and yet people try and do this all the time. And every time period you look at, this is a different time period, every single time period you look at looks the same, where there is no repeatable pattern and no way to successfully time the markets. Don't try to do it. It's a huge mistake. It's a landmine. You only get one chance to get a 30-year retirement correct, and one false move, one swing and miss, one mistake, and you can blow up a lifetime of planning. Now I get it, it's hard. When bear markets happen, we get emotional. It is really hard to stay disciplined and stay the course. And you might be thinking, well, that'll never happen to me, but I've seen it happen where even the most logical, rational people can still get caught up in the emotions. And it's harder today because of the 24/7 news cycle. It doesn't make it easy to maintain that discipline, but you must. And let me show you why. So this was one of many studies out there that shows the unmanaged index over a 30-year period, the S&P 500, compounded at close to 10% per year. The average equity investor did about half of that simply because they reacted. They got in at the top, they got out at the bottom, they tried to time the market, and it just blew themselves up. In the bond market, the data is even worse. Timing the market doesn't work. And if you're still not convinced, let me show you the dollar amount. This is a 20-year period ending in right around 2020, where $100,000, if left alone in the S&P 500, more than tripled to $324,000. And yet, if you miss just the best 5 days, your $324,000 was cut down to $214,000. That's just 5 days of being out of the market because you tried to time it and you got it wrong. What if you miss the best 15 days? Now your results are even worse. You barely stayed ahead of anything. In fact, you lost out to inflation. And now if you missed the best 25 days in a 20-year period, you actually lost money. So the point is, the risks are not worth the rewards of trying to time the market. No matter how hard it is to fight those emotions off, don't do it, and the data is overwhelmingly conclusive. The second biggest mistake that I see retirement preparers make, or people in retirement make, is they concentrate their holdings, they concentrate their portfolio in too few securities or positions. In other words, they're not diversified enough. This is really common, especially with the run. We've all heard of the Magnificent Seven, and these are 7 companies that have had a tremendous success over the last decade. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Facebook, Meta, Tesla. They've all been on a fantastic run. You can see the results here. The results don't lie. And it's really tempting to want to own a lot of those companies because they've been winning, so to speak, over the last 10 years. I want to encourage you to fight the temptation to chase the hot company or the shiny object. Here's why. Let's look at the data. So the time to own those companies is during their ascension, really the 3, 5, and 10 years before becoming the giants of the market. That's the time you want to own the companies, because the 3, 5, and 10 years after companies reach the size that those 7 are at right now, typically the results are not good at all. And if you've concentrated a large position of your retirement assets in few companies like this, and you have results like that over the next 10 years, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So I want to help you avoid that. Still not convinced? Well, let's take a look at history here. And history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And let me show you what I mean. Back in 1980, IBM, AT&T, and Exxon were the darlings of the market with the largest market share. In '85, IBM and Exxon, General Electric were at the top. Let's look at the 90s here. IBM is still there. There's General Electric. We had Coca-Cola in the 90s. Let's pick on General Electric here for a minute, and you could see the list of market leaders over time. What if you had concentrated a large position of your holdings into General Electric back in 2006? Back then, General Electric was the darling of the market, really similar to some of those 7 of the Magnificent Seven today. And so it would have been really tempting for investors to put a large share of their retirement assets into GE because it was a stalwart of the market. Since 2006, the share price of General Electric has been cut in half. And if you had concentrated a large portion of your retirement assets into GE, they too would be cut in half at this point in time. A very, very bad outcome for someone who's near retirement or in retirement. And yet it's tempting to do. The better way to do this, don't own individual stocks, don't concentrate in individual stocks. Put your money into different asset classes. We like to use ETFs. Those are exchange traded funds where you can own hundreds or thousands of companies, not just a few. You can do it in a very low cost manner. They trade for free at Schwab and Fidelity. And you can get exposure to 10,000 companies and about 8 to 10 ETFs. And you could see here's the last 10 years here. This is year by year. There's no predictability, no repeatability, no way to forecast this thing. But I'm going to draw your attention to the white box. The white box represents putting approximately 60% of your money in stocks and 40% of your money in bonds, again, using ETFs. And what you notice is the white box is never once at the top. It's also never once at the bottom. It tends to stay in the middle. And yet it had a decent result over 10 years. For someone who's in retirement, this is more than enough to make your plan come to life and help you stay retired and not have to worry about going back to work. If you're younger and you have more than 5 years until you want to retire, okay, don't put 60% in stocks. Maybe you put 70, 80, maybe it's all in stocks. And this is a very personalized decision, and this is not meant to be a recommendation. It's just a concept that the closer you are to retirement, you may want to be taking some of the risk off the table. The further away from retirement, you want to own more stocks. You just have to have a stomach for the volatility, okay? But the point I'm making is don't time it, don't concentrate in few positions, use ETFs, stay globally diversified, and really smooth out your ride for pretty good results over time if you give it time. Now, what should you do? Rather than trying to time the market, you should rebalance through the market volatility. What I mean is, every year there are certain asset classes that are the strong performers or the winners. And every year there are other asset classes that don't do so well. So a systematic rebalancing plan would look like this. Each year you assess what the winners are in the portfolio. You look at how much you should have in that position, and now because of its success during the year, you probably have more of it. So you trim, you sell just a little bit of your winners, and then you buy into your losers. So that way you're consistently buying low and selling high. We all know that we need to do that. Nobody does this well because they don't have a system or a plan to do it. But this is really what you need to do. And you can do this on your own, or you can get help from a professional to do this. But this is a great way to control your risk and to make sure that you don't blow up a 30-year retirement. And now, for the third biggest mistake that I see people make, they are not taking advantage of financial planning techniques that can help build wealth and save money on taxes. Let me give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. I'm not seeing people doing Roth conversions during low income years, and so now they're building up accounts in their traditional IRAs that are going to have massive RMDs, or required minimum distributions, which will have big tax consequences 10, 15 years into retirement that can have a ripple effect. Higher taxes, higher Medicare premiums because of IRMA, and they're just not paying attention. They're not doing Roth conversions during the gap years, which is between when you retire and when you start those required minimum distributions, as well as Social Security. Another one is during your working years, not taking advantage of all of the benefits that are offered to you. It might be if your company has an after-tax 401k, you should be doing the mega backdoor Roth IRA strategy all day long. It's a wonderful way to get more money for high income earners into Roth IRAs eventually. Things like your RSUs or your ESPPs at work, if you have opportunity to invest in those, make sure that you're using the right strategy for your plan. Also, I see people not contributing enough to their Roth IRAs and their 401ks because they're not paying attention to the rules that are constantly changing. So this opportunity that I see people leaving on the table is resulting in less wealth creation over time and higher tax bills over time. So for some of you, you can do this on your own. I encourage you, go out and learn about these things and go do it. Others, you might be too busy. We hear that a lot. People are too busy, or they'd rather just not do this. They don't want it to become a full-time job. They'd rather spend more time with their kids or their grandkids or their hobbies or traveling. And that's where it might make sense to delegate to a financial professional who will partner with you, coach you, empower you on those things. So know thyself, know which type of person you are. If you can do this on your own, great, go do it. If you need the help, great, go seek out a fiduciary financial advisor that can teach and coach you about these things. All right, so now you're ready to avoid the 3 biggest mistakes, which are timing the market. Don't do it. Don't even try to time the market. It doesn't work. It's too hard to do. Number 2, don't concentrate your portfolio into too few securities. Make sure to remain globally diversified using ETFs, and make sure to rebalance through market volatility, but don't try and time it. And number 3, make sure to take advantage of all the financial planning techniques that are designed to help you build wealth and save money on taxes, both now and in the future. I hope you found this helpful. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe to our channel below and also share it with anybody who you think this can benefit. We love bringing you great content like this, and we hope to bring you more, and we'll see you on the next one.